think there's still a spark. But
The band must be getting ready to play us.
the other thing I was sharing was the importance to schedule it, to plan it, especially with children, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
we're blessed now that they're a little older, right? So Bridget can babysit.
Praise God.
But when they were little, and even when we were broke, right?
Right.
We still said, okay, even if it's just once a month, we need to schedule it, we need to plan it,
Yeah.
right? Like there should be a routine, once a month or twice a month date. And the thing about it is, I was telling her, it doesn't have to be expensive. You know, you don't have to spend all this money.
Right.
It's about breaking the routine of getting up every morning, seeing each other, going through the same, you know, you go to work, I go to work, come home, cook dinner, get baths ready for the kids and all that, right?
Yeah.
But having, you know, it doesn't have to be expensive. Just being able to be together and go somewhere where it's just intentional. And I also was telling her how back in the day when we were BROKE,
Capital
right,
B-R-O.
right, how we would have date night at home.
Right.
Right? Even though, I mean, it wasn't just, okay, I cook dinner, we sit down, but how I set the table.
And it wasn't just Netflix and chill.
Right, no.
Right.
I mean, eventually,
ended up,
right,
but-
how I would set the table and have the
get dressed up,
candles,
yeah.
we get dressed up, but we were at home in our little
Some
one
ramen noodles.
bedroom apartment. But anyway, so, you know, I was just telling her that the thing is just to be able to reconnect,
Yeah.
to share how we feel about each other.
It really is a mindset. It's not just, you know, we have to do this or we're just going to get something to eat and da-da-da-da. It's the whole idea of we're intentionally putting in our schedule and in our lives time to be all up on each other.
Spending
you know?
time and learning each other.
Yeah, because, you know, it's knowing that you're there to invest in staying in love. You know, if you're going to make love last forever, it's got to be an investment of some time and some intentionality because, you know, life is busy. You know, you got work and kids and commitment to church and ministry that you ought to follow up on.
Right. And all those things I think can eventually add up. The busyness, the kids, the work, ministry, all of that can add up to kill the romance. So
Yeah.
being intentional about, you know, keeping that date night.
Yeah, because, you know, the thing that I don't think a lot of us Christian couples get is that date night really is a ministry in and of itself. It's a ministry to each other. You know, and that's kind of what I was trying to share at the Marriage Refresher event from that Song of Songs 2:15 about catch us the little foxes, because it's the little stuff, he says, that ruins the vine. And the whole idea is it won't necessarily put you in divorce court, but it can spoil that which is intoxicating about your love and your marriage. It can ruin, you know, because you spend so much time fussing and fighting,
Right.
then you get to the point where you have all of these irreconcilable differences because you've never done anything to continue to love
Well,
each other.
remember early on how when we were in premarital counseling and the instructor told us, she said, the D word should never be in your vocabulary.
Right.
Like, don't even bring it up. It's not an option. We will always work through
Yeah,
whatever. And we've had enough drama, so.
enough drama.
Yeah.
And I'm at the point where you can divorce me and I'm going to drive you there.
Nope, we're not. Not an option.
Because, you know, but when you talk about schedules and the busyness of life and all that kind of stuff, you know, Jesus said in Matthew 19, verse 6, he said, you know, let not man separate what God has joined together. And too much stuff we allow in to keep us apart. And having that date night allows us to work past and through and beyond those things to stay reconnected. Because I'm so sick of hearing, especially young adults that don't even want to get married anymore because they're watching Christian couples saying, that's it, I don't want that. And, you know, if anybody should be all over each other and, you know, the PDA that don't make no sense and hanging all over each other, that ought to be Christian couples, the ones who have the blessing of God on our marriage. Somebody needs to see fire in Christian love, you know, and so that's why you got to come to a date night. That's why you ought to do it. And even allowing the date night to be a model in front of your own kids. Like, Lex ought to know how to take a girl out on a date because he's been watching Dad.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
I like, you know, and we talked about this early on before having children, but to see it manifest, how you took Brasia out on her first date,
Yeah,
remember for her birthday,
Yeah.
3 weeks ago?
yeah.
That was just, I thought, you know, that's a great example. So she would know, you know, when you go out, this is how a gentleman
And I had to
should
train her
treat you.
because she was trying to get out the car door without me opening. No, you stay right there and sit until he comes around and opens the door.
Exactly. So I think it's important. And you know how we prayed in our marriage that our, you know, our marriage would be an example to other couples, to younger couples. And, you know, if I can just be transparent,
Uh-oh.
what I have what I have loved about being married to you, you know how we say the definition of love is all that we are, all that we have, and giving it to someone else for the positive benefit of that other person,
Yeah.
expecting nothing in return. That is what you have always modeled from day one. And I've seen, you know, what integrity really is, for a man to have integrity and to be trustworthy, and just the awesome father and husband that you are and still continue to be. It's an example to me. So I just, you know.
The truth of the matter is, what I've loved about being married to you is, you know, I prayed and asked God for this woman whose beauty was so much on the inside, it enhanced the beauty on the outside. And just your spirit, the way that you love people, the way that you take care of people, and seeing that spill over into our kids and into me, and just the kind of, you know, the cliche of the Proverbs 31 woman that you're it. I mean, you're literally a rocket scientist teaching physics, and this super smart woman, and you keep fooling with a boo-boo like me. Just the sharing of life in this journey has been amazing. And we've been able to build life together, not just be married. So that's been huge for me. So every time we go on these dates, I love that about being married to you. So before the lady comes, takes our order. This short little message was intended to remind all of us that God has called us who are married to pursue love. Proverbs 5:19, he claims that we ought to be enraptured, caught up in the love that we have for one another. And too many times, so many other things get in the way of allowing us to keep the romance alive and keep the romance hot. But you are called together by God as husband and wife. And so you never let go. You always fight for what God has brought together. But there might be somebody in here today where, the truth be told, you've hit a dry spot in your marriage, in your relationship. It's not feeding your needs. My challenge to us today is, do whatsoever you got to do to get yourself on a date real soon. Spend that time around each other, with each other. Let that spark pursue each other, chase each other. Our kids get so upset every time they see me grabbing on mom and kissing mom, but that's how they learn that marriage is above all blessed by God. So I don't know who might be here. Truth be told, your marriage, your relationship is real dry and things are kind of at a standstill and at a point where you're not being blessed by your marriage. These tips that we gave you today will only go so far. You've got to take the initiative to pursue each other. My daddy used to say it takes as much to keep her as it does to catch her. And so the same stuff you had to do to, I had to convince my wife that she wanted to be with me. I had to make the case with irrefutable evidence. You got to do the same thing